Hello, everyone. John Vizcara. Kim, hello. Nelson McClintock. I don't think I'm appearing on the Amazon podcast in the UK.
No,
Hello,
Amazon is currently running podcasts. Like they're starting a podcast channel. That's what they're asking.
Oh, I see.
But that is just like all things Amazon, not up to us.
Not up to us at all. All right, Seymour, Trevor, what's up? What's up? Alicia, hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody on Periscope. We don't get to see who you are unless you say hi. Say hi to us.
And say hi with your name so we know who you are.
With your name, sir.
I mean, if we know you.
I jumped into the drinks too early. Hello, Virginia, Brittany. Rob, you can watch my honey drip anytime you want, buddy. Anytime you want. Looks like the cameras might be goofed up, so let's go to the main camera and say hello to everybody. Are you ready, baby?
I'm ready.
Here we go. And 3, and 2, and 1.
Oh. Definitely not okay. Much better.
There we go. And how's the other one looking? Let's switch it over there.
You're pretty good. We got to get a little closer.
Get a little closer.
Oh, and I just lost sound in one.
You lost sound in one ear? Check your connection. We'll go back to the main. Hello, everybody. Hello. We have an incredibly amazing show full of genius level talent. What happened?
You just went full.
Oh, full of genius level talent. It's insane. It's insane how good this is going to be for you guys tonight. We have got the usual. We're going to talk about our SIG Locktail real quick. We're going to give you a pup date because you need to see that. It's very fun. We've got This Day in Siglerism. We've got 2 more crucial GSMOAT battles coming your way. And then today's International Coffee Day, baby.
Yes.
I've had a lot.
Yes.
I've had a lot of coffee.
So many coffee days this week. But it's also...
It's also National Black Dog Day. That is why we played a Black Dog cover. None of my music had nothing to do with that.
So Squeaky is partially black.
She's
at least black on the top. She's a little beige in the middle.
She's mixed color. And one of those colors
She's a tri-color.
is black. Martin Evans, Periscope Auto Check. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that very much.
Hi, Peter Marsh. Hi, Beth Copenhaver.
Oh, my gosh. Hello, Peter. Hello, everyone. All right.
Hello, Jenna Leah and Daryl.
Let's see. Oh, my gosh, you guys. Well, I want to get this out. I want to get this out now while we have fans going, so you may hear things.
Oh, my gosh. It's so hot here, guys. Right this second, it's 93 degrees, and it's 6 o'clock.
Let's get this out of the way while we still have your attention. We are going to be doing a Story Smack on October 10th. None other than The French Connection, 4 Academy Award winning, many other awards nominated classic from 1971 starring the greatest actor of all time, Gene Hackman. So you guys are going to want to schedule time to tune in for that. And we have a Jets fan in the house too, you guys. So if you could update us, any major scoring events, please update us. That's how much we love you, even though her team is on tonight. We're here. Yeah,
I will also say you're welcome to update me with any scores. I'm mostly interested if we're not throwing interceptions and we're making points. We're making points.
Making points. There you go.
Not my good friend Stephanie's Broncos, who I'm pretty sure will be making points.
Well, they're winless, I believe. I believe the Broncos are a team that has no wins, and the Jets also are. No, Jets have 1 win. No wins. Big night of football tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
But guess what? The Broncos do.
What?
Win a whole lot more than the Jets.
Well, we know we have many Broncos.
And intercept not nearly as many interceptions as the Jets. The Jets, I think, learned that in training camp. I think that's part of their goal.
That's the interception drill. I've heard of this.
Yeah.
You try to wait till you're close in the game and then you throw an interception. Lions do this a lot too. It's very hot. So we're going to get crack-lacking with this. Let's get to that moment of joy that you all love so much. And if you don't, it's because you don't have souls. It's time for our pup date.
Oh, this was on the goddamn dog sitter's wedding day, I think.
Look
you
at
can
these
see
cuties.
your sleeve there in the background, and they're wearing their wedding finery.
Wedding finery.
They both stood up for the goddamn dog sitters, Amy and Jim. They were one of 3 guests there that day.
Cute.
Or 2, I guess.
Cute patoots. On the left is the dog of doom, Reese. On the right is tiny little asshole, Squeaks. She's a jerk. Tiny jerk dog.
So last night on our once a day in the evening, the Siglers walk the dogs together. Otherwise, we divide and conquer. And but we try to do that every night because we can catch up with each other and get some exercise and hang out with the pups and whatever. And last night when we're doing that, there is a new a neighbor who has a new puppy who's a Doberman. No, Dalmatian.
Dalmatian, yeah.
who's so cute, who she called Dot at first, but last night she called her something else, which is irrelevant. What's relevant is Reese saw this little Dalmatian puppy who's, I think, 1.5 times her size or 2 times her size now, from like 100 yards away, and got so excited. So I think Reese's feeling the lockdown, which I totally feel. I do too, but I think she's feeling the lockdown a tiny bit, and was like, can I please go say hello? So we got to do that, but I had to pick up my jerk dog because my jerk dog instantly barked.
Your jerk dog is, hold on, let me bring you up a little bit more here. Say hello to the folks, baby.
Hey, Sean Dyer, it's nice to see you. I have to tell you that you ordered something from ScottSigler.com. It came back in the mail today because I was missing 3 cents in postage, so I will send it out tomorrow.
All right. So, all right, here we go. We're going to try and get through this stuff. Whoops. Dang. A has before we get to the printer update, while we have a lot of people on, 2 quick things in the world of, let's see, what world it is. It is the world of, it's almost time to vote. In the election on November 3rd in America. You have 32 days, 6 hours, 52 minutes to make sure you are, that is time until the election. Check your local deadlines because stuff can change very quickly. For example, if you are a resident of the great state of Texas, rules changed today. And if you were planning on doing an absentee drop-off location, that has been limited to 1 per county. And there are many places in Texas now you will have to drive over 1 hour one way to drop off your ballot. So check that. And then last bit, I know we got Texas, a lot of Texas viewers out there. If you're going to register for an absentee ballot, that deadline is coming up real fast. That is October 5th, 2020. And you can go to votetexas.gov. Normally, we don't get into particular state information, but we saw that news today about what Governor Abbott's decision and thought that might impact some of our listeners. So we just wanted to let you guys know what the F is up.
Yeah, and remember, in case you are, 1, not a Texan, and 2, haven't spent a lot of time in Texas, Texas is gigantic. So the idea that there is 1 per county, in some of those counties, that's literally several hundred miles.
Yep.
At square miles. It's huge. It's, I think,
one area
Houston County is like
wider
650 square miles.
Wider than Connecticut and another state put together.
Yeah.
Texas is just so freaking big. It
is such a terrible thing to do a month before the election. It's just so
very
non-transparent and shitty.
Very interesting. All right, so we have we have updates on the printer situation for GFL 6. Let's get you guys the good info. Hit them, baby.
So I've been, as you guys know, since 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago when our printer went belly up, I've been talking to print companies. I have 2 that are sending me bids today and tomorrow that will help me figure out when I can get back online. So that's good news. You're back in the process, back into production. So I should probably know by the next SIGLERinPLACE if either one of those bids are viable, and if so, kind of what that schedule looks like. So we'll have an idea. I will say I've talked to 6 people, 6 different companies, and 3 of them were unable to commit until June 2021. And the other 3, we've got 2 that are giving bids and 1 who it just didn't work out our schedule-wise for them. But hopefully we'll get something done.
I feel like my wife / publisher all of a sudden is on a Seinfeld. We had a printer. It didn't work out. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I don't know how to say they sort of died. They just, they went belly up in the pandemic.
Let's take a look at our sponsor before we get into the GSMOAT, the giant moat full of sports movies. Ladies and gentlemen, our sponsor this week is in honor of a junkie who lost a relative to multiple causes, but the primary cause was a bit of a COVID crash, and that the gentleman who passed was a big reader, so we have made a donation to proliteracy.org, and A will tell you about proliteracy. We made the donation in his name, so hit it, A.
So I mentioned this last week as well. One of the great things about proliteracy is they have a global reach. They also focus on adult readers. Often we have, we have problems with lots of people learning to read and write, but there is a little bit more outreach for children learning to read and write. And you can get through whatever country you live in, you can get through the entire education system and not have a functional level of reading comprehension. And this, without malice, without drama, without anything like that, they help get resources to non-proficient adult readers so that they can grow and learn. And I think that that's amazing, because I think there's a lot of folks. We had somebody on the last SIGLERinPLACE on Tuesday talk about that. I think it was their granddad got all the way through, like was their granddad before they realized that granddad couldn't proficiently read. And the amount of change that happened after he did is of course life-altering. So we love anybody who's lost folks to COVID. Yep. We love this charity as a support for honoring somebody who died prematurely when they didn't have to. And we hope you guys can share or donate. We always donate to our nonprofit sponsors, and
yes,
we'll do that this week too.
We do. We did that. We've already done that this week. So there you go. Okay, now we're going back to the main. What's up? Wait, shaboop. That's the noise our camera makes when I switch them. Shaboop. Actually, it's a general noise. We use that for quite a lot of things. We're melting like pale white chocolate that we are. We're both very sweet.
Almost assuredly putting my hair back up momentarily.
As you can see by our complexions, we're both very creamy and delicate. Very creamy and delicate.
It's 93 degrees at 6:30 in the evening.
Did we have that excuse for an AC thing going?
What? Yes.
Yes, okay. Great. Here we go. It's time. It's time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's turn these off real quick. Let's take a look at this bracket. Holy cats. We've got such a shootout going on tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have got, look at this. Just heavy hitters, heavyweights, sluggers. We've got the Karate Kid, who's more of a kicker. They will get you with their feet. They will kick you in the head.
Yeah. Also, the Karate Kid. Wow. Huge competitor.
Oh,
I watched him doing the crane.
Yep.
I didn't think he was the powerful competitor that he turns out to be.
Yes. All there. It's
Holy
full of
cats,
even
you
the bad
guys.
guys are powerful competitors. Little crane action. And we have the Karate Kid going up against Bull Durham, beloved movie, but I do not think that it is long for this world. Dodgeball has a good chance at upsetting a league of their own, but we will have to see what happens. That's baseball bats versus rubber balls that are mostly air. So, but you can throw a wrench. If you can throw a wrench, you can defeat someone who has a baseball bat.
Those are definitely not the rules.
They are definitely not the rules. We will be referring to the chat room from time to time, just to get caught up on everything. Wolf is back. All right. All right, everybody. Say hello to each other in the chat room. See your buddies there. Hang out. And now, let's take a look at our match. Did I miss anything, babe? Okay.
I don't think so.
Yep.
You need to be careful about asking me things like that, because I may come right back and say, I think the pup date. Did we do the pup date? Just so I can see them twice.
See, just so you can see the pup date again. There they are.
Oh, come on.
Let's go to our matchups. Do we have is this the scores?
Those are them.
Okay, we got the scores. I'll keep those handy. Let's do my favorite moment of the show, which probably isn't funny to anyone but me, but I've made a career and a life out of making myself laugh. And that's really all that matters. If you can make yourself laugh, you need neither an audience or someone else to entertain you. Think about that.
Hey,
that was deep.
Bethany.
That was actually kind of deep.
It was definitely deep.
Very deep, very deep. Our first match. Oh, my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this one first. We got to go with the lower seed first. In the left corner, a washed-up has-been of a manager who's probably drunk through most of this movie, but falls in love with his team of plucky baseball players. It is going to be Gina Davis and Tom Hanks and Madonna in A League of Their Own. And their opponent, the 3 seed. Grab life by the ball. It is Vince Vaughn. It is Ben Stiller. And what has become one of the greatest cult classics of all time, it is Dodgeball. Pretty weak ring walk-ups today for that one. I'm not impressed with myself at all. I feel like I dropped the ball. I dropped the dodgeball.
I don't think you have to say that out loud.
Oh, I see. And then let's take a look at our headliner. Our headliner on our pay-per-view tonight. Hey, Chaz.
Oh.
And the right side of the bracket, holding a baseball bat because he will knock you on your ass if you try to beat him in the GSMOAT. It is Susan Sarandon, Kevin Costner, and some other famous people too. It is Bull Durham. And of Expected by many to be the champion, the winner of probably many sports movie tournaments throughout the decades, Pat Morita, and gosh damn it, who's the guy on the other side?
Ralph Macchio.
And Ralph Macchio. They stand on random driftwood on the beach. They kick seagulls in the ding-ding, and they do moves in a tournament that would never work ever, not one time in a million years in any fighting tournament in the history of mankind. It is the Karate Kid.
I mean, except for not knowing the names of the two actors,
Yeah,
that was a
better.
pretty good one. That was a pretty good ring walk-up, except for that one.
I was going to say, it's very hot here. I had Pat Morita. Then as soon as I started saying it was Pat Moriarty.
Yeah, and that
Then
is
it was
definitely
Pat Moratorium, and I just bailed
none
out.
of that.
I
None of those
just
are
bailed
things.
out.
Yeah.
And as far as the other kid, I had nothing, no idea. Hey, Beth Copenhaver survived a visit to the dentist. We forgot Siglebrations.
We didn't really have them, except that
We've
it's
got
October.
This is a Sigleration. It is October, which, baby, tell them what October is.
October is normally
Oop.
Siglerfest month.
Here.
And even though we had decided that we weren't going to do a Siglerfest in October this year to get done with the deadlines that were getting done, we definitely miss Siglerfest. And we've had a handful of people email. I know, Beth, you talked about it a little bit on Facebook as well, talking about what to do. And honestly, this will sound crazy, but it's difficult to add a ton to SIGLERinPLACE. So we'll probably talk about it for the next few weeks. And we're thinking if we can't do an in-person SIGLERfest next year, we may do some kind of a programming weekend. But we'll work on it.
Joshua says he didn't realize that Mr. Miyagi was the arch nemesis of Sherlock Holmes. It's true. People don't know this. Pat Moriarty was definitely in there. Seamorg says she has a Siglerbration. Her biopsy was negative. Yes. Well done.
Yes.
Well done. It's like she prepped for a test. Well done. All right. Virginia had 4 monarchs emerge this morning. That's very... Look at all kinds of Siglebrations are popping up out of the blue now. Beth Pate Copenhaver talking about Siglerfest. She misses the festering, which I can't believe that we have not incorporated that phrase.
Oh, yeah, me. I can't believe it either. I can't believe that nobody's ever recommended that by email 10,000 times, and I never brought it up.
There's a reason you didn't bring it up, because now that I've heard it, we're going to be doing a lot of festering some point in the future if we do another Siglerfest. It's unfortunate that snuck through the gatekeeper. Yeah. Very unfortunate. All right, let's get back to the matchups, ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to do, since we don't have a whole lot of new content for you today, we're going to get through this, and then we are going to go straight to questions. We've got questions. But before we do that, you guys, I forgot something very, very important. We forgot to talk about the Siglocktail.
This is a crazy Siglocktail. It's the same exact rum, the same exact pineapple juice, all the same things that I have made on when I used it to make this video, and I used it to make it on Tuesday. And it's like this crazy caramel color. Why is it this crazy caramel color?
I don't know. I have no answer for you.
It's not supposed to be this crazy caramel color.
Every Monday at scottsigler.com, A posts a video where she makes a drink. You can see that. Do you know your YouTube URL? I don't think you know that yet.
It's AB Sigler.
AB Sigler. Look for AB Sigler on YouTube, or just go to scottsigler.com. You can see her drink videos. It's pretty fun. She just works down there in the kitchen, makes drinks, all kinds of good stuff. And then, do you know what the drinks will be next week, babe? What alcohol they should acquire?
Tequila. We're moving into tequila. And I know a lot of folks have trouble with tequila because tequila can be a little bit of a handful. So my goal is to make very classic drinks. If you do drink tequila at all, you'll probably drink a margarita. That'll be in there somewhere. We're going to do classic, easy, fruity, hearty drinks. So hopefully you can come back. And you probably just need to get a bottle of white or silver tequila.
And you guys, when you watch either this week's drink video or next week's or all of them from now on, you will hear a musical bumper, very short, recorded by me. We're quite delighted with the whole thing.
Do you think if we played this, if you played that, would that get a copyright takedown?
Wait, this?
Yeah.
Hold on, I've screwed everything up. Not credentials. Maine. There we go. A copyright takedown for
if you scroll all the way back,
it's not copyrighted.
Okay, so why don't you play them your new bass line then?
Well, all right. I wanted them to watch your video, but okay, here we go. I hope this won't be too loud. That's it. There we go. That's it. All right, back to Maine. All right, let's get to those tournaments. Let's get to those matchups, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Let's announce our score. Carlo, I also have a very difficult time.
I was just about to say,
tequila.
well, he's getting ready to do that. I will tell you guys, a lot of drinks that you make, same thing I said early on, I think with, what was it, vodka? No, I forget. It was vodka, then rum, and some people can't drink, or gin. Just like gin, a lot of drinks that I'm going to make, if you want to slip vodka in there, it'll have a different flavor profile, but it'll be pretty close.
Excellent. All right, you ready, baby? Ready to announce the winners? me.
Dum dum dum.
What are we doing here? League of Their Own and Dodgeball. Oh, so much for that. The results are in a first round stoppage at 1 minute and 12 seconds. It is a clear winner and proof that those with baseball bats, at least in the top out of this bracket, are better suited in a battle that involves physical altercations by a score of 57-22. Moving on to the finals of this bracket, of this division, it is League of Their Own. Yay. I don't think there's really any surprise there, do you?
This one, no. I don't think so.
I thought there might have been an upset, but...
this is the thing that you talked about early on when I was fussy about the seed, the bracket, and you were like, right, but it's the excitement of the seeds that happen as everybody moves on or whatever, And this is one of those moments where you see it because I like both these movies. I am glad that A League of Their Own won this particular matchup, but I that doesn't mean that Dodgeball is bad,
No, of course not.
So I'm not really surprised by this, knowing how well A League of Their Own did, how well Dodgeball did, how different they are, that kind of thing. I'm not all that surprised.
Yeah, I mean, Globo Gym is bad. That doesn't mean the movie's bad, but Globo Gym, they're not good people. They're just not good people.
There's a handful of things we didn't know, of course, that I'm going to read you. My favorite thing about The League of Their Own that I looked at when I was researching is the actors all had to actually play baseball. So a goodly amount of them needed to learn how to play baseball so that they could play baseball live. And think about that. If you haven't really played a lot of baseball in your life, you kind of know how you do it, but that doesn't mean you can do it. And so a handful of, can you imagine like having Madonna and Gina Davis, audition for Penny Marshall, which is, she was the director, and have that happen and have you get the role and then have them say, also, you're going to have to take some baseball lessons. Like, I love that so much. It's so cute.
Pretty fun. Wait, you got one more from that movie?
Sure. Let's see if I only have one more. All of the injuries in the film were real. The real women of the All-American Pro Girls Baseball League were tough, but their on-screen counterparts were equally as tenacious on the field. Penny Marshall had the actresses play a lot of real games with multiple cameras set up in order to get enough footage for montages. And they didn't go easy on one another because, of course, they were playing real baseball.
Oh, so they played real base. The 4 teams played actual baseball games and they shot it for B-roll. That's amazing. I didn't know that.
So there were jammed shoulders, sprained fingers, broken noses, nearly broken noses. The giant strawberry bruise that Alice gets while sliding into base. Oh, yeah. Was a real injury that actress Renee Coleman sustained during filming. And it lasted for over a year. So I love both of those.
Well, they do say that peaches bruise easily. So there you go.
And then
let's take a look at our Dodgeball. Yeah.
Dodgeball. Oh, God, I kind of love and I kind of hate that this movie did not win. Because it's such a fun, cool, and there's so many folks who have like a long and storied film history. Like Ben Stiller, of course, comes from a huge movie family. So Ben Stiller, a huge movie buff as well, he chose to honor the seminal 1980s action classic Roadhouse by using Patrick Swayze's hairdo as an inspiration for his character, calling it a super coiffed power mullet.
A super coiffed power mullet.
We're going to love that.
Oh, shoot. I'm trying to get that.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening for me either. I can't seem to scroll here.
Maybe is our internet? You're not scrolling. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to switch back to Maine. It looks like we're still broadcasting, which is all that really. That's the bottom line. That's what matters. Now we're going to go back. I was slightly out of order, you guys. We're going to go back to our matchups. We're going to take a look at the big one. The big one, the number 1 seed, favored by many to win it all. Before we do that, hey, let's take a look at our leaderboard.
You know, I have to apologize to you.
Why?
Because you guys might not have seen it on screen, but I was pretty fussy about a bracket in the beginning. I was like, this is a lot more work than I was told we were going to have to do.
It's a lot
I don't
more work.
understand it, and I don't really like it, and I should have had a chance to vote. And I'm loving it
good.
now. I'm
Very
loving
good.
it now.
Very good. So those things you don't know about Dodgeball, you got those from ifc.com. You can go look that up yourself. Here we are with the leaderboard. We're going to announce this before we announce the winner of the final match of the night. We have That Was Hard in first place, Danny the Dolphin in second, GSMOAT Legauer in third, and clear possession of fourth place, Busey's Best Picks, and then a bit of a schma. Nope, 6 is clear too. Game of Mouse still in it, and then a bunch of people in seventh, and it goes on from there. Let's get back to the matchups, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. As if anybody doubted the outcome of this. We have a knockout in the first round at 12 seconds into the match due to a crane kick to the mouth by a score of 61-14. Kevin Costner goes down. Susan Sarandon goes down. Oh, yeah. And the winner is Pat Morita, the Karate Kid.
Dum, dum, dum.
There we go. All right, so that's out of the way. That's out of the way. Clovar's in the house. What's up, y'all? Power mullet. Not that Clovar has anything to do with a power mullet. But what we're going to do, we're going to go back to May, and we're going to put you on the camera, and you need to vamp for a second while I fill these in.
So this is another, I love little things like this. As some of you guys know, when Mythbusters was still on the air, I did some work for the two main hosts of Mythbusters, logistics work. And that ended in 2015, and this happened for that too. Lots of people wanted to know what happened to lots of the most famous pieces of Mythbusters, and I'm not really allowed to tell you, but I have this in The Karate Kid. At the end of the movie, during the movie, one of the plot lines is that, as you guys know, the Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio, Danny has to wax on and wax off, and wax on and wax off, and wax on and wax off to learn that defensive move. And Mr. Miyagi offers Daniel that car that he has brought back to a lovely sheen as a birthday gift. And at the end of filming, the producers gave that car to Ralph Macchio. And it is a 1948 Ford Super Deluxe, and he owns it to this day.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any other cool tips or cool points from that movie, babe?
Yeah. I do love this also because you can totally see this in reverse in a lot of movies, but this actually happened this way. Ralph Macchio was 22 years old when he was filming The Karate Kid, and The Karate Kid is, of course, a teenager in high school. And quite a goodly number of the folks on the cast and the crew didn't believe that he was actually 22 years old and old enough to drink and things like that. They thought he was far younger and just that talented as a teenager. But lots of people didn't believe it, and that was like during dinner he shouldn't have wine, things like that.
That's fantastic.
It was too old.
Fantastic.
Too young, I mean.
All right, we're going to have more on the Karate Kid because Karate Kid is moving into the final round of 8, which we're going to look at in 1 second. But first, let's see how the leaderboard changed, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Refreshing the leaderboard, and who is in first place? As I have predicted for so long, Danny the Dolphin moves into first place. Danny the Dolphin, the clear owner of first place, picking Caddyshack to win it all. Also has Hoosiers, Rocky, and the Karate Kid in his final bracket. That Was Hard drops down to clear possession number 2. Still has a chance to run the table and hopefully beat Danny the Dolphin if he gets everything right. That is Field of Dreams as his winner with Happy Gilmore in the final for Any Given Sunday Dodgeball. I don't think that's going to work out for him, but we'll see.
Right.
Game of Mao, battles back. Was first place through this whole tournament. Lost it on Tuesday, and was it Tuesday? Mm-hmm. Yeah, lost it on Tuesday, and now is fought back to number 3. Game of Mao is Rocky winning it all with Caddyshack, Field of Dreams, and the Karate Kid. And then Drew's best guess. Where'd this person come from? Drew comes out of nowhere to take 4th place. GSMOAT Legauer drops down to 5th. Busey's best picks drops down to 7th, and We Shall See moves up to 7. And look, where am I? I'm number 11. I've dropped down a little bit. Let's see who's in last place. We'll just take a quick peek.
Probably me and the people who didn't finish the bracket.
Quick peek. It is
still
ABS winner. But you got a shot, baby.
I have no shot. I have no shot.
You got a shot to not finish last. That's what's important.
That is definitely
Your
not
final
a real
four
thing.
Are Creed.
I am literally the last place for anybody who voted the entire bracket, and I'm going to stay there. Somebody should have told me it was a vote that counted.
I tried really hard to explain brackets, but
but you didn't tell me this was going to be my vote. You were just like, fill this out.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I was doing it for comedic value.
It's totally working. 3
of A's final 4 are already out of the tournament. So that's probably not going to work out very well. All right, going back to main, switch back to this camera. I think that about covers the tournament.
Did we do all of it?
We did do all of it. And now we're going to go back to here. What we're looking at, we will fill in the Karate Kid for you. We will fill in a League of Their Own down the South Division. We don't know exactly how we're going to do things from here because we want to make each of these next 4 matches a story smack. So we are in the round of 8. The winners of Hoosiers versus Field of Dreams, Rocky versus Any Given Sunday, Caddyshack versus Happy Gilmore, and the Karate Kid versus League of Their Own become our final 4 contenders. So we have 8 movies. A and I need to figure out exactly how we're going to do this. We will let you know. Please stay tuned to facebook.com/ScottSigler. If you are not signed up for the text, please do that. Sign up for our text. Send a text to this. Automated message will respond to you because we're not sure how we're going to move on to the next round because we have to watch the movies and do a story smack, which is a much more laborious process for us. We want to make sure you guys know when it's going on. So do that. Yeah, Daniel Baker, I'm saying A has a chance. Yes, there is a chance.
Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD. I think we both know A has no chance.
Clovar says the text messaging is excellent. So there we go. Mario has worn his new Sigler mask to work this week. He's had lots of compliments and questions about them. Jim Lockett wore his and we went and picked apples, which was very cool.
Yeah. He had his nocturnal one, which that was the first time that we've seen in person, and it is pretty damn cool.
All right, you guys, your very sweaty host and co-host are now going to go to questions. We've got questions. We've got a magic book that doesn't seem to ever turn the page, but there's a question mark in the book and it keeps coming up, so it's got to be a good question. Yeah.
Also, earlier this evening, Dr. Nicole Gallucci, who is a professor, an astronomy or a physics professor, said now when she's teaching classes and it comes to time for questions, she hears that jingle in her head and sings it under her breath, and her students are like, what is happening?
We've got questions. I'm glad. I like that. I may actually have to then actually do a real song for it then, so I can get it stuck in everybody's head, because I kind of ad-lib it as we go based on the art.
So Kim Hansen asks, are there any words that bother you or you just won't use in your writing?
It depends on the book. Remember, GFL is YA accessible. And the Generations trilogy was YA accessible. So though there was a lot of stuff that wouldn't go in there. As far as general words that I won't put in, no, I would say there isn't anything I have a rule against, because if you've got awful, horrible people as characters, horrible people say horrible things, which is stuff we see every day. You won't see a lot of it from the narrator's perspective, almost never from the main character's perspective, but there's not a lot of words that I will censor. I haven't really had to get into any trigger warnings on stuff yet, but when we put out the crypt, that there will be, the crypt's way adult. So we're going to have to get ahead of that game and figure that out when we get there. There was a time when A1 and I, part of the reason that the crypt has taken so long is we got the Generations trilogy, and right about 2014 we were getting ready to pitch the crypt, and we had written up a pitch, but we didn't know how to get around the fact that it's part of the GFL
and at
universe.
the time everything was YA. It was also Alive, and the Generations trilogy was YA, and the Iceberg, Steve Rickenberg, is in the chat room tonight, as is John Viscar. They went through this with us, and we had ended up deciding that it would be a YA narration and a YA ebook, because everything else that was coming out right then was YA. And then when we actually went through the work of that, especially what Steve Rickenberg did, it became obvious. Not only are there very sensitive topics that are probably not right for YA, because these people are the worst of the worst. That's a thing that we know right away, how they end up on the crypt. But also the language was definitely not written as YA. So we kind of just kind of frittered away with everything else that we were doing. And that actually works out great, because here we are out of YA writing, except for the GFL, which is also maturing as a series. So it will always stay YA, but just like the Harry Potter series did, as these characters grow and we grow with them, their stories get more complex, and the morality that they face gets more complex, and that's okay. But it'll still have YA language and stuff like that. But now we don't have to worry about that for the crypt.
And for like I try to avoid, a lot of my books are kind of what I call post-racial, like the Generations trilogy. There's people of many different current ethnic backgrounds, and I don't get into exactly when that story happens in the Siglerverse. But what I will do in order to make the book more accessible to more people is, black, white, brown, that kind of thing isn't present in the GFL and won't be present in the crypt. So I invent new structures so that people can be horribly racist and do things along those lines. And by taking it out of the current day and creating new structure, it makes all of it more accessible and palatable, and the overall message kind of gets across. That's why there is purism, which is a made-up, invented religion, and it's not a religion that is rooted in any of our current religions, so that you can have very pro-religious characters and very anti-religious characters centering around a religion that's not really going to offend anybody, because I made that shit up. What other questions? Yes?
I have important news.
Shoot.
Jets and the Broncos are tied at 10 right now.
Jets Broncos tied at 10?
I have to celebrate. It's probably the one moment I can.
There you go.
At least Sunday will be fun for me. Less so for him.
But a side note to only you viewers get to know this information. Our agent has submitted the crypt to a publisher, and we are not going to talk about it right now, except for the part I just talked about it. But then
and
I
didn't know he was going to talk about it. I thought about asking you because it's such fun, but I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's we're very excited. We'll see how it goes. We know we still have information we can't tell you about books that are supposed to be out in friggin' December. So we'll get to it, but the crypt is coming. It's like winter, but in space.
I also saw, Baza, you asked, will Mount Fitzroy be out by your brother's birthday on the 24th? And I'm assuming you mean the 24th of this month. And the answer is absolutely not. As I mentioned last week, and I'll continue to talk about until we can actually give you real information, Ray Porter is narrating. Ray Porter was evacuated with the Western fires and had some stuff to deal with. And so production was interrupted, and there was no recording done for, I don't exactly know how long, but I think it's roughly 2 or 3 weeks. And remember, there's a necessary reason to always record in the same space so that the ambient noise in the room sounds fine. So it's not like he could just get evacuated, pull his recording stuff, go to a hotel and do it. He needs to do it where he did 3/4 of the book already. He's back on track. We should know by the 15th of this month whether or not our original the publication date that we know that we're not yet contractually allowed to tell you, we don't know if that will work. We will know by the 15th of this month. So expect, not this week, not next week, but right after that, expect a definitive date, which is absolutely not October 24th.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to another. Is there anything else I want to cover that? No, let's go to another question. What else we got, baby?
Sure.
See if there's anything coming in the chat room here. Oh, Joshua Loy has a question. As a San Diegan, Joshua's from San Diego. We are in San Diego. What football team could he root for? Because he's not going to root for the Chargers. Because the Chargers are now in L.A., and it's very difficult. As San Diegans, it's very difficult to like the Chargers because the Chargers were awesome, great while they were here, and everybody loved them, and then the Spanos went for the money.
The Spanos are the owners.
The Spanos are the owners, yeah.
And literally nobody in San Diego or L.A. really wanted us to move, or wanted the Chargers to move. They just wanted the money. They wanted a new stadium and the money.
I think, Joshua, you have a rare opportunity. As if you are of a diehard fan variety, you have a rare opportunity to look around the NFL and see what team appeals to your personality and your ethos, and then pick a team and dive in. So.
And I find that a super interesting thing right now, because so much is different about professional football right now. And so you're, sort of seeing a whole bunch of things we've not seen before. We're seeing a new effort in unity and camaraderie with kneeling or arms linking, all that sort of stuff. We're also seeing a new era where these players who get super motivated, as I think I would, by the actual live game and all the people in the stands and all that stuff, they're having to play in an empty stadium pretty much.
Yeah.
And so there's so many interesting ways this particular season that we can see the heart of the team in a way that I'm not sure that I was able to see a decade ago when I picked a football team, because I started to read the rookie and I started to work with Scott and that kind of thing. So I think it could be a really exciting thing. You get to see a lot about the heart of the organization, I think.
Very good. Very
I think
good.
I might lean towards, if I knew nothing about football and I was coming in today, I might start with the Washington football team. Like, what kind of crazy ass name is that? And then that, it took forever, but I might start there and be like, how come everybody else has a name?
I honestly hope they don't change it. It's so good.
I do too.
Because in soccer and in European football, there are a lot of city name FC, city name football club. So why not use it in the NFL?
Yeah, why not?
It's great.
I love FC, actually.
Yeah,
that would be really fun.
That'd be pretty good.
That's a really good idea.
The Washington football team.
Yeah.
Okay, what other question we got, sweetie?
Cynthia Cisneros asked, do you ever have the outline or plot or characters get away from you and do things that you don't want them to do?
All the time.
Every minute of every day.
That is often a very frustrating yet positive sign that things are going well. This will sound strange. Things are going well when the detailed outline that you spent 3 weeks to a month on, that is 80 pages long, starts to break down because the characters who are supposed to do things at a certain time in the outline, that no longer works. So you're like, well, that character would not do that. So that happens all the time, and it becomes an iterative process. You do the outline, then you write until the characters break the outline, then you re-outline, continue writing, go back and fix what you have to fix. You continue till they break the outline again, and eventually you get to the end. Fortunately, I have a lot of help with these constantly shifting outlines and stories from Continuities Our Big John Viscara and from A, who's the first reader of stuff. So they often can see the cracks in said foundation. When you change things, sometimes you miss some of the bedrock, the early chapter stuff. So people, I get a lot of help because that level of detail isn't my strong suit. And then once the characters start to come alive and do their own thing, that's when, as an author, you have to roll with it. Because if they're doing stuff that you didn't think they were going to do, they are much closer to being a simulacrum of a real live person. And when you do that, you start to have characters that the readers fall in love with, like Pookie Chang and Perry Dossie and characters like that. So once they start to go off the reservation, so to speak, that means you're on the right path. It means a whole lot of work coming your way, but you're on the right path.
And I think that you've talked about this before. You're an architect, not a gardener. Mm-hmm. In that, in case you haven't heard that, for writers, there's the idea that you're an architect and you plan a whole bunch of things out, or you're a gardener and you kind of prepare the soil and see where things go. And Scott's definitely much more of an architect than he is a gardener. Yeah. And at the same time, one of the things that frustrates Scott a whole lot, you tend to say like this, like, I just wish those dumb kids would go into the haunted house.
Yeah.
Like, he can't write the thing that is too ludicrous for him to read. He can't even do it, even though he knows that's the thing that will move the whole chapter forward and make it easier on him. Mm-hmm. He can't do it. He's got to back out and make sure that the kids have a good reason for not going in the haunted house, and still the story moves forward anyway, which I kind of love.
Yes.
So I missed it, but somebody asked why I chose the Jets, not the Giants.
All right.
So back in 2009, we were just getting to know each other. We were working on the rookie together. Not a skill set either one of us had. We learned a lot. But the first thing Scott said is, if you're going to do this, if you're going to take this job, you have to pick a football team. And
you cannot be on the sidelines. You cannot be in the stands. You've got to pick a football. You got to pick a team.
I picked the Ionath Krakens. And he was like, all right, that was... I mean, he didn't say these words, but he sort of did this. Okay, points for you. That was adorable. Pick a team. Pick a team so you understand the ups and downs and the ins and outs and the heartbreak and all the stuff. And I had only seen a handful of football in my life. My brother, who's in the chat room now, my stepdad, they're both football fans. They both happen to be New York Jets fans. But I'll be honest, the reason that I picked the Jets is at the time, I have a very, very, very good friend, a very dear, dear friend who is a absolute dyed-in-the-wool Giants fan. And so the most football I understood at the time, which was absolutely nothing, was the Giants and the Lions. And they were better than the Jets. And so when they were playing, it was harder to keep track of. It was harder to follow along on the screen about what was happening because they were better players. Mm. And the Jets I could follow because they fucked up a lot. Oops. They screwed up a lot. And so I picked the Jets because I could watch the Jets and learn with the Jets in a way that I couldn't with the Giants. Now, wow, I regret that decision because I understand a lot more football and I wish my team would play it. But I'm already a Jets fan. And I got to see the Jets play live in 2011.
Which was fun. Which was you like? Was fun.
It was huge, and it was a terrible week in my life. It was a really hard week in my life, going through a whole bunch of stuff, and so I got to do that. And now, I wish I had a more winning team, but I like that. My brother and I get to talk about the Jets and complain about the Jets and cheer the Jets on when there's cheering on and stuff like that.
That's what a lot of this picking a team is all about too. Is getting to a point where you can interact with other people who like the team and grouse and kvetch and celebrate occasionally. I mean, I don't really know what that's all about. I'm a Lions fan, so
right. I mean, you just celebrate all the time.
Not a lot of celebration. A lot of this, just a lot of you stupid sons of bitches.
Actually, to be fair, I can't do it because I have the headphones on and they're wired. But there is quite a lot of throwing your hands physically up in the air, cursing a whole bunch, and pacing around the living room. A lot of that. A lot of, you have to fucking catch the ball, son. Yeah. A lot of that.
Yeah, and mostly getting upset about clock management. That's the biggest thing. Once you start to get into the details of football and understand that clock management is kind of like this actuarian table where there's certain situations where 90% of the time you're going to do certain things based on where the clock is, where the ball is on the field, how many timeouts you have left, etc. And the Lions just throw that right out the window. Don't care. It's not important. All right, what other question we got, babe?
Let's see. We have Ellen Gilmore asks, both of us, what was your first job and what is your most influential job?
What was your first job, sweetie?
My first job when I was 14 years old, I worked at a bodega just down the street from my apartment. And I learned to work the register and I learned to play Galaga. I played a lot of Galaga.
That's also your most influential job then.
Well, it is my most influential job for a different reason. Because the reason I played a lot of Galaga is I took quarters out of the till to do it. Because in my head, they would go back in the till. Like it was me keeping things lively in the store. Honestly, I understand that was not true.
I would have thought the same thing, to be honest.
Well, but I honestly, at 14, I didn't know that was like a rented, like they just put that in there. It was a consignment thing and it was somebody else. So I got fired from that job for stealing because I was stealing, which I should have gotten fired because I was totally stealing. But I didn't realize that I was stealing.
Did you cry?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I cried so much. I cried so much.
Fantastic.
And then, so my boss's name was Rudy. Dude, you will remember Rudy. And I was so upset. And I apologized and I understood what I did wrong and I had to pay it back. Like I wanted to pay it back. And I had to pay back $17.25 because that's how much money I had stolen a quarter at a time to play Galaga.
That's a lot of Galaga.
Yeah. It might be the reason that I didn't really game once home video games came out because I was so mortified by how terrible I was. I can't. So for me, I think that was, I think that definitely was my first job. It may be my most influential job because I think anybody who actually knows me knows I'm like an inveterate dyed-in-the-wool apple polisher.
So you're apple polisher. That's
and I think that might have been from that experience. But I've had a handful of really, really cool, not necessarily influential on the outside world, but influential on me jobs. I spent a summer as a roadie, and that was really powerful about...
Real quick, you were ready for... Tell them who you were ready for?
The New Kids on the Block.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And, it's sort of an interesting thing to see what I'll call behind the curtain and have that last into my adult life, because of course now I work with Scott, who has things, and not now we have a different relationship,
and I
but
also
back
do
in the
choreographed
day,
dance too, so it's very useful for her.
He has a public persona and then things he can't talk about, and I work with the Mythbusters who have that same thing going on, and I think having had that experience quite young, I was 18 with the first sort of brush with fame. That was a definite, like, oh yeah, no, these people, this is not the big glamorous life that I think it is. Not every movie star, not every musician has quite literally the best life ever, and doesn't have to do chores and never fights with their kids or their family or whatever. It was that kind of worked for me.
And then, of course, to be a new kid in the block, you had to sacrifice goats. And that's just too much. It's too much for a day-to-day work.
Jude says in the chat room, like, I had this huge traumatic experience because I stole less than $20 worth of quarters from the bodega. Jude says, Rudy paid me $5 a week and I had unlimited Snickers. It was my best job ever.
My first job, I believe, was the usual mowing lawns. When I was in the 6th grade, I lived in Washington State. I moved away from Michigan, moved to Washington, and got a summer job, I guess you will, at a parade. And in this parade, my job was to ride those fake wooden horses that you just kind of trot with your own feet, and that was attached to a cart. So I moved the cart around, and my job was, when the parade horses took a duker in the middle of the street, which parade horses do. Horses, they don't have a lot of decorum. They don't have a toilet. This looks like a good place to poop, and they poop, and they move on with their day. My job was to shovel that up and put it in the cart and then continue on. Also wore some crazy cowboy hat with a frilly thing around the top. I don't remember, but it was $20. And at that age, I was like, do you want me to shovel horse poop for $20? Sign me up.
But you say also, like, you were in great physical shape. You were...
No, it was 6th grade. It was this big around.
No, I mean the horse poop one.
This is my second horse poop job you're talking about, which I'll mention now. We moved back, and we moved from Sheboygan to Belding, Michigan, and the only job I could get without having those sweet connections, when you're like a high school junior, high school senior, people in town, you get good jobs like Rudy giving you Snickers. I got a job at the Ionia Free Fair, the world's largest outdoor fair. And once again, my job was hauling horse poop, except now this horse poop was 55-gallon drums full of horse poop and other assorted feces from other assorted farm areas. My job was, for 12 hours a day, pick up the 55-gallon oil drum, put it on a flatbed cart, load that up, drive it to the trash compactor, pick the drum up over my head, dump it, put it back down. So of course, you smell of manure all the time. But man, I was ripped. I mean, those things had to weigh like 60, 65 pounds a piece when they were full, and you just did rep after rep after rep. And so I stank like poop, but I was in great shape. Yeah, babe.
Aren't they 55? Oh no, that's
55 gallons. Yes.
Yeah, so that definitely probably weighs more.
Cedro Woolley, that is spelled correctly, Rob Otto. And then my most influential job is this job. I get to entertain a lot of wonderful people. I get to communicate some socially pertinent issues from time to time through my fiction, and I get to make stuff up and lie for a living, and it's fantastic. And I lie to all of your faces, and you love me for it. I can't imagine a better job.
Yeah.
And how about your most influential job?
Well, like I've already answered that. I think probably I got sort of an opportunity to learn young that pretty much everybody's just trying to get by, even if they're famous, even if they have the most glamorous job you can think of or whatever. But, I'll say I really, this is an interesting thing because I had for years, for 2 decades, I had a completely normal corporate job. I'm a chemist by education, and I don't think I'd trade this life for anything, but it's definitely so different from what I kind of what I thought my career would be, for sure.
The chat room's going nuts. Danny Baker's like, who has 2 thumbs? Who has 2 horse poop jobs and 2 thumbs?
This guy, for
this
sure.
guy. Maria D'Souza, her most influential job is being the CEO of Limited Horizons Limited.
For sure.
Anyways, all right. So we've got 5 minutes left, baby. If you want to go back to one more question. I will say this, though. that the 2 horse boot jobs, along with working on the buffet cook line at Elias Brothers Big Boy and working in a McDonald's kitchen and picking strawberries for a summer, taught me an enormous amount about the value of higher education, and taught me that I do not want to be working these jobs when I am of a more advanced age. So they were very, very influential, and to be like, I'm going to figure something out because I ain't doing this. I'm figuring something else out.
Okay. Tracy Shank asked a couple of weeks ago on the cast, do you retain any of the sophisticated verbiage you use in your books? You talk a whole lot of science.
Yes and no. I have a fairly good vocabulary, a wonderful lexicon, a spectacular walking dictionary that is my brain, a pantheon of alliterative references that I can call upon at any time and not exactly know what they mean all of the time. So, and that largely comes from all the podcasting. Now, 15 years of podcasting, when you start to get good at audio narration, you're not reading the word you're looking at. You're actually 3 or 4 words ahead, kind of scanning the sentence for problems while another part of your brain is reading the sentence. It's a weird thing. A does it now. She's done 4 audiobooks. I've done a whole bunch. So that same mechanism is there as I can kind of, when I'm talking, and especially when I'm talking shit, I can write sentences 3 or 4 or 5 words ahead of time and almost have this moment to pick them out. Apparently that doesn't come into play when I'm trying to remember actors in movies that I adore, but it does go there. But,
yeah, and I will say this, like one of the very first things that we did, even before The Rookie, Contagious came out on an accelerated schedule than what Scott had originally agreed to. So in April of 2008, I think Infected came out, and it did well enough that Crown Publishing and Random House asked, cool, instead of doing this next year, can we do this year? Can we do this in 6 months? And Scott went to do this in 6 months, and at the time was having quite a lot of stuff go on in his personal life. His father-in-law was sick, all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think your wife was sick too. Anyway, he ends up getting the book out, and because it listed on the New York Times list, he got an NPR interview. He got a handful of interviews that he wasn't ready for, and they all wanted to talk about international warfare and biochemical weapons and things like that. And so we had just started to work together, and I was working on like logistics, and he was like, do you have any? I have a whole day of radio interviews, and fucking every question is about biohazard, like classes and all this stuff. Can you do anything? And I was like, well, I don't know, but I can try. And I sent him sort of a cheat sheet checklist thing, so at least he could look up like a glossary or whatever, so he could look up things. And we got through that day, and I think that's the whole reason that Empty Set exists, because you were like, okay, well, that was great on the fly.
A further answer to that question is I cram. It's just like cramming for finals. Like, so if I'm in an upcoming book, say for The Crypt, I'm going to want to learn about actual real life space propulsion systems. I'll go through and learn all I can, write my outline, and then email my very intelligent pals and say, I want to do this, how much of this would actually work? They will tell me. And then I will gradually accumulate a battery of knowledge, relatively superficial knowledge about a subject, and I could, while I'm writing the book, I could speak to you with relative authority about the higher level stuff, right? I know what I'm talking about. I would say about a week after I submit the final draft, most of that just it starts to go, and now I get asked questions about, brain chemistry from Pandemic. I'm like, bro, I got no idea, dude. I want to go shovel horse poop for a living. I don't know what you're talking about. So I retain the information for a little while, and then that gets bumped out by the next block of information that comes in. This is why I'm pals with a lot of smart people.
Well, but I think this is true for all of us, right? I think all of us retain the information that is necessary to do the things we are doing currently in our life well, right? So if I'm trying to learn, I was at the beginning of the year before the pandemic, I was trying to purposefully learn more about vegan cooking and how to do that well. Because I had a vegan friend who I would feed once a week. Like they would come, we'd have a shared lunch, and now I don't do that anymore. So do I eat vegan? Yeah, sometimes, but I'm not intentionally learning that. And I think the same thing happens for Scott. Like when you're in it and wanting to get it as accurate and real and correct.
Right.
That is so important to you. And we spend a ton of time talking about
Way
things
too much time.
where
Way
I
too
can
much.
honestly say, like, I understand now the sometimes people are trying so hard to like be in the moment and help, and they go a little cross-eyed. Like, I'll be like, I don't does it matter what color the scales are on the unarmed underwater vehicle? Does that matter so much? And you're like, I don't know, maybe if they're auto-reflective, we need to see if they can reflect sunlight. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's a balancing act of learning when to not go so far into detail that you lose people. I'll tell you this story and then we'll sign off so I can watch the rest of the Jets. When I wrote Ancestor, I had a 5-page, and this is double-spaced, 250 words a page. So that is 1,250 words on a flywheel power system in the C5 that is an Ancestor. I did all of this research to learn how, the concept of a flywheel. It's a big, heavy disc. You spin it up, and then it moves on its own inertia. And if your power goes out, well, the flywheel's still spinning, and then that becomes a generator to provide power in a time when there's no power. And I wrote 5 pages on this one thing in the plane that has literally nothing to do with the story. It did not. It was like, well, they're very well prepared. If power goes out, they're very well. And I got so obsessed with the detail I was learning in this that I put it in there. And my editor, the Shiv, Julian, at Crown, just sent it back with like 5 pages, just a big red X, like a red X through the whole page, and basically his very polite way of saying, no one gives a shit. Move on to the characters and the action. This doesn't say they have a flywheel. Be done, and that's it. Yeah. All right, so I think we got to finish up. There's a little football for you to watch, and you guys are in it to win it. It looks like. David, I'm going to copy your questions. We're going to get back to that another time. I don't think you have a whole big. We're going to talk a whole lot about the crypt in the coming months. A whole lot. Yeah, whole lot. So hang tight with that. We're going to go watch the Jets screw up this loss. And victory by the skin of the teeth. There, you upstart young men from the Meadowlands. Is it Meadowlands? Is that the stadium? It's MetLife. The upstart young men from MetLife Stadium are going to go into the fourth quarter with an erstwhile honest attempt at victory, and they will prevail. So, Nelson, Steph, everybody who is a Broncos fan, good luck to you guys. I hope the second half that I watch is just as exciting as the first half that I missed. She's flipping you off in her mind, though. Just letting you know. You know this is not me. This is not me at all. I want somebody to have a good night. I already know it's not going to be me, so you guys might enjoy it. So, I think that's it for today. We will see you guys back on Tuesday. Tuesday, October 6th. And if you have ideas for the show, content you want to hear, or questions you want to hear answered like we just had, you email those to info@emptyset.com. And empty set does not have any dashes in it. info@emptyset.com. Eventually, we will get that question answered, and we might even be, if you have a great idea for content on the show once the GSMOAT is over, we may appreciate that. Yeah, content, nonprofit sponsors, all that stuff, all of that. Mm-hmm. Also, we'll be back on Tuesday, October 6th, which is National Coaches Day. Snap. Do you know a coach, Scott? I know several coaches. So we're going to celebrate National Coaches Day because we know and love quite a goodly number of great coaches. Until then, you guys know the drill. You stay safe. Stay smart. Stay science. And for the love of science, listen to people who actually research stuff and know what they're talking about, because the smart people that I text and call all of the time, they know lots of stuff, and you should listen to them. Anything else, baby? Just the dating game kiss off. Oh, dating game. Let me go on.